What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today we're taking a look at the top 10 Nike shoes for 2021. So for those of you wondering, this video isn't like a top 10 end of the year wrap up video covering just the top 10 best of the best. This is just a look forward at what some of the best sneakers are that you can buy right now. So in today's video, we're taking a look at the top 10 Nike sneakers, or what I consider to be the top 10 Nike sneakers that are new for 2021 or are new-ish and are the best sneakers that you can walk into Foot Locker right now and pick up. But to be fair, I do think some of the shoes that made this list will also make the top 10 best list at the end of the year. I do have to admit though, I couldn't help myself. There are some shoes on this list that are probably going to be a little bit more difficult to buy because they're a little bit more hyped up, but at the end of the day, you might get lucky, you might walk into a store and find them, you never know. Also, we might have a giveaway going for a pair of YEEZYs, so if you guys would like to enter that giveaway, I realize it's not a Nike sneaker, so it doesn't really fit with the theme of this video, but hey, you know what, it's never bad to have a pair of YEEZYs. If you would like to enter the giveaway for this brand new pair of YEEZY 450s in a size 9, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel. I'm having so much trouble getting them out of the box. Subscribe to this channel by clicking that subscribe button down below. Subscribe to my tech channel, which is linked in the description below. Follow me on Instagram at @RealSethFowler and comment "done" underneath the picture of this shoe on my Instagram. And that's really all there is to it. Entering is super easy and the giveaway ends in 2 weeks. Oh, and I guess there is one more thing. If you guys would like to check out any of the shoes that we talked about in today's video, I've left links to all of them in the description below. But now without any further ado, let's jump right into the top 10 Nike shoes for 2021. The first 2 times I recorded that, I said 2020. It's like 3 months into the year and I'm still saying 2020. Starting things off at number 10, we've got the Nike Air Max Zephyr. The Air Max Zephyr is a brand new silhouette for 2021, or at least sort of brand new because it did release in Europe back at the very end of 2020. What makes the Air Max Zephyr so interesting is that it's the first Nike sneaker to feature air units on the upper. Do they do anything? No, not really, but they look cool and they look futuristic, and I feel like that's Nike's main selling point with this shoe. As for actual underfoot cushioning, which, let's be honest, is really the only Air Max cushioning that counts, you get a full Air Max 720 air unit. In addition to that, you also have foam cushioning in the midsole, which Nike doesn't specify what kind of foam that it is, but it feels pretty nice underfoot. And if you like a lifestyle sneaker that makes you feel like you're on a trampoline with every step, this is not a bad way to go. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but the 720 air unit is pretty bouncy underfoot. But I think the main selling point of this shoe is the aesthetic and the fact that the sneaker looks like it's from 2050. But I've got to say, something that's a little bit odd to me about this sneaker and the way that Nike's marketing it is that they aren't really. It's like the brand new Air Max sneaker for 2021, but they haven't really said much about it, and the only pair I can find on their website is on sale. Now, don't let that scare you away from grabbing the shoe. I do think it's a solid sneaker overall, but it's odd to me why Nike isn't pushing this shoe the way that they push their new Air Max models. With that being said, the Nike Air Max Zephyr usually retails for a relatively high price point of $190, but is currently on sale on Nike.com for around $145. And honestly, for that price, if you like the aesthetic and you like the way that the cushioning feels underneath your foot, it's a great shoe to pick up. Continuing on with another shoe that features large visible air units underfoot, at number 9 we've got the Nike Air Vapormax Evo. So the Vapormax Evo is interesting because unlike a lot of the previous Vapormaxes that are heavily focused on athletics, this shoe definitely seems to be more lifestyle inspired. With that said though, it still does feature the redesigned Vapormax air unit underfoot, which I've got to say I love. I didn't love the original Vapormax air unit, but this new one, perfect. The design inspiration for the Vapormax Evo is apparently taken from 7 different previous Air Max models, and if you're familiar with Air Maxes at all and you look at the upper of this shoe, you can actually pick out some of the different parts of the sneaker that were pulled from previous models. Design-wise, honestly, I feel like this shoe might be a little bit too bulky for me, but I haven't tried it yet. I've just been hearing other people's opinions. I do have to say though that the Vapormax technology that they put into the sneaker is going to make it a very comfortable shoe underfoot, and if comfort is your main priority, this isn't a bad way to go. And I feel like it's one of those shoes that if you love the history of Nike and you love the history of Air Maxes, it's definitely a shoe that's worth picking up. There is one kind of big downside though, and that's the price. The Nike Air Vapormax Evo retails for $200. And I've got to say, for a lifestyle sneaker, that's definitely expensive. However, I don't think it's a bad shoe, and I think it will probably last you a long time. And hey, if you love the aesthetic of this shoe, I think it might be money well spent. Next up at number 8, we've got the first basketball sneaker on the list with the Nike PG5. If you didn't know, the PG5 is Paul George's 5th signature basketball sneaker. And what I love about Paul George's signature sneaker line is that they're all very budget focused and they all give you a lot of tech for the money that you're paying. In the case of the Paul George 5 or the PG5, the retail price of this sneaker is just $110, which for a signature basketball sneaker is pretty decent. And I've got to say, while the PG5 might not be the best basketball sneaker out there, for $110 110 bucks, you are getting a very solid performance shoe. The PG5 features a full-length Nike Air Zoom Strobel unit, which gives you full-length underfoot cushioning, and while the materials that Nike used on the upper aren't that premium, they still do the job and they still lock you in really nicely. One of the features that I love about the Nike PG5 is that they've actually reused the traction pattern from the Nike Kobe 9. And while it might not be as durable as the Nike Kobe 9's traction pattern, it looks the same and it still sticks to the ground very, very well. The Nike PG5 is a solid all-around budget basketball sneaker, and at just 110 bucks, if budget is your goal, the Nike PG5 is really one of the best ways to go. Plus, unlike some of the shoes on the list that haven't received their 2021 update yet, the PG5 just got updated, so your shoe is still going to be the latest PG model until 2022. Next up at number 7, we've got one of my personal favorite shoes on the list, and that's the Nike Pegasus 37. Nike's Pegasus running line has always been one of their most popular sneaker lines because of how consistent the Nike Pegasus line is. Nike Pegasus sneakers are just always solid all-around running sneakers for both casual runners and more serious runners. And the Pegasus 37 is the first design overhaul of the Pegasus line in the last couple years, and I've got to say, they nailed it. The main difference between the Pegasus 37 and the 36 is the midsole. This time around, Nike decided to double the size of the forefoot air unit, which gives you even more spring in your step. But wait, the cushioning insanity doesn't end there. In addition to the double-sized forefoot air zoom unit, you've also got a full-length Nike React midsole, which is one of Nike's softest foam midsoles to date. I'm a very casual runner, like I run maybe once or maybe twice a week, but this is a shoe that I wear not only when I'm running, but also when I'm just walking around because of how insanely comfortable it is. This shoe has really become an everyday wear for me. Like I'll throw it on if I'm going to the store, I'll throw it on if I'm going on a run. It's just a great all-around sneaker, not only because it's comfortable, but also because it looks pretty good. Yes, the overall design is definitely running inspired, but it's one of those shoes you can wear with pretty much any casual outfit and look totally fine. In addition to just the insanely cushioned midsole, you also have a pretty solid upper as well. While the materials used on the upper aren't really state-of-the-art, they're more of a standard textile than a futuristic knit, they do still get the job done very well, and I've got to say the lockdown of the Pegasus 37 is excellent. Whether you're looking for a great everyday running sneaker or a shoe that you can run in on the weekends and then go to the grocery store on Monday, it's a great shoe to pick up, and for just 120 bucks, it's not even really expensive either. And I can almost guarantee that in the very near future, some colorways will go on sale if they haven't already. Coming in at number 6, we've got the Nike LeBron 18. Much like LeBron is the king of the basketball court, the Nike LeBron 18 is the king of cushioned basketball sneakers. If cushioning is your main concern when it comes to a ball shoe, the Nike LeBron 18 is unquestionably the way to go. This shoe's cushioning setup is insane, and if you're a bigger dude, this is definitely the way to go. The Nike LeBron 18 features a full-length Zoom Air unit nestled in between a Nike Air Zoom unit around the heel. So you're really just getting all kinds of air cushioning underneath your foot. And coming down from that rebound really hard on your heel, you're gonna be happy that you grabbed a pair of Nike LeBron 18s. But not only that, the shoe also features a Knit Posit 2.0 upper, which is a combination of knits and like posits, which are like heat-formed threads or foams or what, I can't really describe it, but it's a really cool futuristic upper. The main benefits of it are the fact that it's very lightweight while still containing your foot, being very durable, and also being very comfortable. But the icing on the cake is the fact that the tongue of the sneaker actually features 3 separate air units so that you have cushioning on the top of your foot. It's crazy. So not only is the Nike LeBron 18 technology-wise like the most advanced basketball sneaker that Nike makes and is their flagship basketball sneaker, it's also one of the most cushioned basketball sneakers ever. But as you probably could have guessed, all that cushioning and innovation does come at a price. The Nike LeBron 18 retails for 200 bucks. So it's definitely not a cheap shoe, but if you're looking for the best of the best when it comes to performance basketball sneakers right now, the Nike LeBron 18 is the way to go. Speaking of more premium sneakers, at number 5, we've got the Nike VaporFly Next Percent 2. The Nike VaporFly Next Percent was one of Nike's most advanced running sneakers, and this year in 2021, they're releasing a second version. Unlike the Pegasus 37, which is designed to be an everyday running sneaker, the Nike VaporFly Next Percent 2 is designed more for race days and more elite runners. And not only that, the VaporFly Next Percent 2 also features a lot more premium materials. The upper of the shoe is made up of soft, breathable engineered mesh, which keeps your feet cooler while you're running, but also keeps you locked in. In addition to that, there's also apparently pockets of cushioning in the tongue, very similar to what they did in the LeBron 18, which apparently is supposed to help the comfort of the top of your foot. And on the Next Percent 2 in particular, apparently they've added more reinforcement around the forefoot and in high strike areas. But what really makes the Next Percent 2 special is the full-length articulated carbon plate, which gives the shoe a lot more bounce, as well as the full Zoom X foam midsole. If you have never tried Zoom X, it's gonna change your life. It is the softest cushioning I've ever felt. There's a reason these shoes are so expensive, and it's because of the tech that they're putting into them. This shoe feels incredibly comfortable on foot, and when you're running in this shoe, you like never get tired because of how much bounce that carbon plate is giving to you and how much cushion you get from that Zoom X. It almost feels like you're cheating. I don't think you are, but it feels like it. Aesthetically, the shoe looks very race inspired, which I actually don't mind, and some of the colorways that are releasing later in the year, I'm actually really into and will be trying to pick up. As far as price goes, the Nike VaporFly Next Percent 2 definitely isn't cheap and will cost a retail price of $225. And not only that, it's also a little bit difficult to get because all the professional runners want this shoe, so whenever it releases, it usually sells out. Coming in at number 4, we've got a signature shoe from a late legend, and that's the Nike Kobe 6 Pro Tro. So obviously, if you were into basketball when Kobe was playing, Kobe had an impact on your life in some way. And so for a lot of people, owning a Kobe sneaker now is not just special because it's limited or it's hard to get, it's because they have something to remember one of the legends by. And to be real, that's one of the reasons why this shoe is so high on the list. Now I will say that not only is this shoe tied to a legend, but the Nike Kobe 6 Pro Tro is also an excellent sneaker overall. It's also the fact that Nike decided to update the tech in these sneakers, so even though they look just like the classic shoes, they perform like modern day basketball sneakers. And at the very end of 2020, Nike decided to start retroing or Pro Troing the next Kobe model in the series, and that's the Nike Kobe 6. So not only is there just a ton of history tied to the Nike Kobe 6 silhouette, but this Kobe 6 Pro Tro is an updated basketball sneaker that can be played in today and perform like modern basketball sneakers. So it really is the best of both worlds, and the way that Nike is rolling out these sneakers is every year they're releasing another model. So in 2021, they're releasing Kobe 6s. And I've gotta say, the Nike Kobe 6 is a fan favorite for a reason. It's an incredible looking sneaker. You've got those 3D snakeskin details in the upper, which looks incredible. It comes in a bunch of different really excellent colorways, and personally, it's my favorite Kobe model. Now to be honest, the Nike Kobe 6 Pro Tro is not going to be an easy model to get. Not only do more people want it because of Kobe's passing last year, but Nike's also only releasing like really limited amounts of this sneaker for whatever reason. And so even though the Nike Kobe 6 Pro Tro is releasing this year, it's going to be one of the hardest shoes to grab on the list, and that kind of sucks. Also, the retail price of this shoe is kind of high at $180, but when you compare it to the resale price, if you miss out on this sneaker, it kind of feels like a bargain. Coming in at number 3, we've got the Nike Cosmic Unity. So the Nike Cosmic Unity is not only a decent on-court performance basketball sneaker, but it's also made up of 25% recycled materials by weight. And yes, I know that's not a huge amount of recycled materials, but the fact that Nike is incorporating any recycled materials into a retail performance basketball sneaker is pretty cool. Now, if you're into footwear at all, I'm sure you've noticed the recent push towards sustainable footwear and shoes that use recycled materials. And while in some cases I think brands are doing it for marketing, which let's be honest kind of sucks, at the same time they are still doing it and they are still making a push towards sustainability, which I do appreciate. And when huge brands like Nike and Adidas use any recycled materials in their shoes, it's still a step in the right direction and it still uses a good amount of material. All that aside though, the Nike Cosmic Unity is also a pretty badass looking sneaker. The shoe just looks like a shoe of the future, and I love that about it. And one of the things I find most interesting about the Cosmic Unity is that the shoe actually utilizes a partially recycled Air Zoom strobel unit, which I've got to be honest is pretty crazy and does perform pretty well. While the Nike Cosmic Unity might not be like the top of the line performance basketball sneaker, it's still a really great looking sneaker. It utilizes recycled materials, it performs well, and I think it's really a good look into the future of Nike footwear. And one of my favorite things about the shoe is actually the price point, because it comes in at a very reasonable $150. So next up at number 2, we've got a shoe that I was really debating whether I should put it on the list or not, and that's the Nike Dunk. So the reason I had so much trouble deciding whether this shoe should be on the list or not is because the Nike Dunk is one of Nike's most classic silhouettes. I'm sure you've noticed by this point I didn't include Air Force Ones, I didn't include Epic Reacts, I didn't include shoes that weren't new for 2021. But the reason I decided to add the Nike Dunk is because 2021 seems like it's going to be the year of Nike Dunks. Yes, 2020 and even 2019, the Nike Dunk was becoming even more popular than it's ever been, but in 2021, I think it's going to reach the peak of its popularity, and I think it's going to become even more available. So to give you all a little bit of history on the Nike Dunk silhouette, the shoe first released in a high top variant back in the mid 80s as a performance basketball sneaker. It was a shoe that everyone would wear when they were playing for their college teams, and it would come in college colorways as well. Now, as the shoe became more popular, Nike decided to release a low top variant of the shoe, which ended up becoming very popular with skateboarders. And over the last few decades, the popularity of the Nike Dunk sort of ebbed and flowed. It seemed to reach just a huge peak back in the mid 2000s and seems to be doing that once again in the 2020s. And what I'm so excited about in 2021 for the Nike Dunk is the fact that they're releasing a bunch of different colorways, both in collaboration styles, which are crazy, and also in very simple and very wearable retro inspired styles. In my my opinion, and I'm sure in a lot of other people's opinion, the Nike Dunk is one of the most wearable sneakers Nike has ever released. And if you haven't noticed, it shares a lot of DNA with my favorite shoe, the Air Jordan 1, which was actually heavily inspired by the Nike Dunk. So no matter what style of the Nike Dunk you're looking for, whether it's the Dunk Highs, the Dunk Lows, or even the SB Dunks, this shoe has something for you. But unfortunately, there is a downside to this shoe right now, and that's the fact that it's one of the most popular sneakers of the year, and because of that, it's almost impossible to find in stores. If you can find a pair in stores, they do retail for as cheap as just 110 bucks. Unfortunately though, you're probably not going to find a pair, and you're going to have to pay resale, which is significantly more. All that said though, the Nike Dunk is one of the most versatile shoes on the list, and definitely, in my opinion, one of the best. And then finally, rounding off today's video in the #1 spot, we've got one of the more wild sneakers on the list, and that's the Nike GoFly Ease, which actually opens like this. So the Nike GoFly Ease is a very interesting sneaker for a lot of different reasons, and the main reason is the fact that this shoe was specifically designed for people who lack the dexterity to tie their sneakers or people who are disabled. Obviously, the standout feature of this shoe is the way that you get in and out of it. It's designed in a way that you should be able to take the shoe on and off without using your hands at all. It's so cool to see a big brand like Nike finally focus on a segment of the market that really hasn't had too many good options. And it's the kind of technology that I think will carry over into shoes for people who aren't even disabled and just want to be able to more easily take on and off their shoes, maybe if they're carrying a grocery bag or something like that. So what makes the design of the Nike GoFly Ease so interesting is how simple and how intuitive it is. Literally, the shoe just kind of splits in half and has a rubber band around the outside so that it stays together. You put your foot into the shoe, you step down, and that closes the sneaker. And then when you want to get out of the sneaker, you step on the heel of the shoe, and that sort of bends the sneaker up, and you just pull your foot out, and you're good to go. But the craziest thing for me is that over the last 2 weeks that I've been wearing this shoe almost every single day, it hasn't gotten looser. I just assumed that because it didn't have laces, it wouldn't stay that tight around your foot, and that throughout the day it would just get too loose. But surprisingly, that's not the case. It hugs your foot really, really well, and it stays on even if you're running. It's crazy. So whether you're someone who's disabled and this shoe just changes your life because it makes it so much easier to get your shoes on and off by yourself, or whether you're an able-bodied person who just wants, a little bit more convenience when it comes to picking up things and carrying things and being able to take on and off your shoes, the Nike GoFly Ease is an excellent new innovation in footwear. And what makes me even more excited about this shoe is the fact that it's only 120 bucks. And while yes, that is still a premium price point for most people, it's not crazy expensive, and I think it will get cheaper as the technology gets a little bit older. But I just had to put the Nike GoFly Ease at #1 on the list because it's the most interesting, it's the most exciting, and it's the most useful shoe I think out of every sneaker on this entire list. It's a crazy shoe, and I think it's gonna make a lot of people's lives just that much easier. But with that, we wrap up the top 10 Nike shoes for 2021. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on this list and which shoes you like the best, so make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.